It's that time of year for predictions to be made concerning the NFL schedules, teams, strength of schedule, etc. I've never actually done this recorded before, but hey, I'm all about football, so let's try it out. I want to let you guys know every Monday and Friday I stream over on Twitch, twitch.tv/Delkery. Would love to see you over there. Let me know that you found the channel because of this video. Every Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, we are connecting with some Friday morning encouragement and then doing some fantasy franchise in Madden 22. Would love to have you there. Hear some of your thoughts with what's happening with the team. We're also going to talk about fantasy football on Fridays, and so everything football. I don't know if it's obvious who I am a fan of, but listen, I just love the game. Be sure to let me know, whether in comments here or over at Twitch when I'm live, what your favorite team is. Love to connect with people from all over, from all fan bases, and hang out and have fun, even if you are a Browns or a Ravens fan. It's okay. Still love you, still want to connect with you. So let's get into it, guys. So first up, we've got the Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray back again this year. He needs to improve. One of the big tells for us this year is going to be if he is able to maximize his involvement with someone like DeAndre Hopkins, AJ Green coming in to give a little bit of depth, a little bit of age. He's got to stay healthy. Christian Kirk, I always thought Christian Kirk was going to be a little bit better of a receiver. Part of that was because he became a stud for me in past fantasy franchises that I would make here in Madden. Keyshawn Johnson, Isabella, I've seen him make some epic returns in different Madden games. In 95 speed, 93 acceleration is what they show on here. Kyler Murray is going to be key to seeing them forward. At halfback, man, we're gonna see what happens there. James Conner will do decent, I think, with Chase Edmonds, Eno Benjamin. I think a pretty weak backing core, honestly, across the offensive line. They've got some guys. Rodney Hudson at center, so it'll be manageable. They've got potential, but then defense will be big this year. Gonna have to force the run stopping and pass pressure with ads like JJ Watt. He needs to stay healthy. And then they've got a healthy Chandler Jones over here at outside backer, plays off the edge, and then a few stud rookies. Wow, a few stud rookies as well. The defense has got to come through this year to help them out over the top. They've got Budda Baker, obviously a stud at strong safety, a manageable, kind of like their offensive line, manageable secondary. A few betting websites, they're looking at around 8 wins for the Cardinals. I don't know about that. Some of the keys that are going to be important for them is they're going to need to be able to come through defensively, like I've been saying. They also need to win division games. They're going to have one of the toughest divisions in the league, running against somebody like the Seahawks, as you see right here. But the Seahawks, and then they're going to have some tough games as well against the San Francisco 49ers, especially with a healthier squad out of the Niners, but I'll get more to that later. If they're unable to win franchise games, then the Cardinals, I think they're going to be ending up middling in their win record this year, and honestly could be kept out of playoffs playing against the Seahawks and the Niners. And the Rams. Let's not forget about the Rams. The Rams actually are looking pretty decent, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. Bleacher Report actually has the Cardinals going 10-7 is their prediction. I have the Arizona Cardinals at 11-6. And so it's going to be competitive in the NFC West, and I actually have the Seahawks winning the division in a tiebreaker of division wins by 1 over the Arizona Cardinals. So it's going to be a great year to watch. I'm cheering for Kyler Murray. I want to see him continue to improve, and we'll see what happens from there. But on to the next. We come here to the Seahawks. Russell Wilson, my guy. This guy has been a stud since he came into the league, and I think he is a key factor every season, period. Love this guy. The real question is going to be, is Pete Carroll going to let him make it happen? I feel like from what I have seen, I'm not a Seahawks fan, but from what I have seen from a distance, Pete Carroll has kept Russell Wilson from being who Russell Wilson could be. We'll see. That's going to be a key factor, honestly. Jamal Adams, I think, is going to have a stud year. The guy is a stud. So what else is there to say? I think the weakness will be in the pass defense, but honestly, I don't think it's going to be enough to concern me. I've got the Cardinals coming in as the NFC West division champions. And actually, I have them coming in winning a tiebreaker over the Arizona Cardinals. I have them at 11-6. Bleacher Report has them at 12-5. And a lot of the betting sites have them at 10 wins. Let's see what happens. And now we come to the Rams. The Rams are an interesting team this year. I'm really excited about Matthew Stafford. I've wanted to see, between Matthew Stafford and even Phillip Rivers when he was playing, I wanted to see them get on a team where they had a good defense to help them out a little. I think the Rams give that to Matthew Stafford more than he had in Detroit. The only issue is the timing that they brought Stafford over. I think they're going to have difficulty being in one of the toughest divisions in the league. And I think some of the age on the roster could actually hurt the Rams, whether it's through injuries, which obviously I don't hope for anybody, or just not enough talent as there was at one time under McVay. We have yet to see what Matt Stafford is going to bring to this offense. But again, defensively, I think they're going to be solid. I think the Rams may vie for playoffs via wild card. I don't foresee them being one of the top two in the division, but we'll see. We'll see what they can do. I hope they prove me wrong. I'd love to see Matt Stafford get his way there. Let's move on to the next. My apologies if with the Rams, I didn't say what my record was going to be. I'm thinking they're going to go 9-8. So we'll see how that plays out. I have them less than both bettors and Bleacher Report has them listed at, but we'll see. We shall see. On to the 49ers. Dude, biggest factor, obviously, injuries. Last year, these guys got hit so hard by that injury bug. Coming into this year, they got to stay healthy. I think how Kyle Shanahan handles the quarterback situation is going to be a big thing as well. I'm still a believer in any QB who comes out from under Bill Belichick, but Jimmy GQ needs to prove himself right out of the gate because young Trey Lance looks super promising and poised for a good start to his career if he can keep from getting injured. Many quarterbacks who play his style of football nowadays get injured easily, so hopefully that doesn't happen to him. That defense led by Bosa looking good. In one of the toughest divisions in football, I really do think the Niners have a chance to play hard, to play good, to hit double digits in wins. I have them going 10-7. Bleacher Report has them going 11-6, and the bettors have them at 10 wins. So we'll see what happens, but I have them coming in third in the division, probably getting a wild card slot, but I'll get to playoff setup later on. All right, we move on to the AFC West. And we find ourselves at the Broncos. Now, the Broncos, like the 49ers, this club was plagued with injuries last year. And honestly, though, they're one of the most well-rounded teams currently out there. But they don't have a standout, especially at arguably the most necessary position, the quarterback. I've always loved Teddy, and honestly, I felt like he was misused all around the league. And at this point, though, unfortunately, that's been to his detriment. And so I think between him and Drew Lock, there's potential in this offense. But one of the things is they're not going to find themselves going very far on that potential if the coaching staff messes with the QBs throughout the season. I do see them improving over their win total, though, from last year. The bettors have them at a 7.5. Bleacher Report has them at 9-8. I'm struggling, guys, on whether or not they're going to hit 7-8, 8-9, but I don't see them getting over 500 this year. Obviously, the favorite this year and an excellent team again, we have the Chiefs. They're down to business. I really think that with the loss in the Super Bowl this past year, man, they're going to be mean and they are going to be difficult to beat. Do I see them in the Super Bowl again this year? No spoilers. I'll talk playoffs and such later on. Last year, though, the offensive line was a problem. We saw it big time in the Super Bowl. And obviously, there were some moves made this offseason to try and shore up the offensive line. But I do think we see some issues there again this year. Defensively, I think they did get better, but I still think that's a weakness of theirs. They do overall improve this year as a unit, but I think the entire NFL has improved overall. And so I still see them being a top team this year. I see them winning the AFC West. I have them going at 13-4. I think there's some teams that can pull some wins over them. Bleacher Report has them going at 15-2, and the bets right now for the under-overs at 12. All right, can I be honest, guys? I am not sold on John Gruden. I think people may overestimate him. Yes, he won a Super Bowl, but how long ago was it? Well, part of it is a mindset, yes, and it's about the leadership that you have on the team. I think there's a lot to do with the modern game style. I'm not sure that Gruden is the guy to lead the Raiders in the long run back to the big game. Now, this year, they continue in a tough division, and while they do have some promise in some youth, I don't think they have enough to make a lot of difference this year. Look for a big year, I think, from Henry Ruggs. And I'm hoping for some more consistency with Derek Carr. But I still think they're a year away from a winning record. I have them going 6-11 this year, actually. Bleacher Report has them at 7-10, and the bets have them at an under-over at 8 wins. So we'll see. Now, rounding out the AFC West, we have the Chargers. And I think Offensive Rookie of the Year, Justin Herbert, continues forward well this year, but we do see a little drawback his sophomore season. I mean, that normally happens, right? I think he does well with the changes in offense. New offensive coordinator, but something is telling me injuries are going to be a problem. I mean, when aren't they for the Chargers? Outside of injuries, though, I think overall there's something I like about this squad, and I think they do continue to improve defensively. They're pretty solid, better than when Phillip Rivers was there. I have them actually improving to double digits this year. Bleacher Report has them at 9-8. The bets have them over under at 9. I have them at 10-7, guys. So we'll see. I think these guys could be a team that look in from the playoffs. I really do. Moving on to the NFC South, we've got the Buccaneers. Obviously, Super Bowl champions. Obviously, Tom Brady's on board. This group, honestly, guys, still looks like a very scary team. And so this year, they are going to be one of the top teams, no doubt about it. And their division gets a little bit easier as Drew Brees obviously has retired. And so with him gone, I don't know what to say. I think Tom Brady is surrounded by an excellent group. I think Tampa Bay's front office did a phenomenal job to be able to make it possible for Tom Brady to be surrounded by a Super Bowl caliber team last year and again this year. Some great coverage guys, some fast linebackers, a great group of playmakers on offense. Yeah, this is going to be a great team. Honestly, probably the best record team of the regular season, according to what I have, let alone what everybody else is showing. I have the Buccaneers going 14-3. Bleacher Report also has that happening, and the under-over is 11.5 wins with betting. Really good squad again this year. And now we have one that might get me in a little trouble, but we have the New Orleans Saints. And the Saints, I've always enjoyed the Saints. I loved Drew Brees. I was hoping he would go one more year for them to make a final run, kind of like Pittsburgh is doing this year. But here's the issue. With Drew Brees gone, they're in a difficult spot because Jameis Winston, he's so up and down, and he doesn't ever have consistency. And so turnovers are going to be a problem, no doubt about it. The defense is still holding up pretty much the same, which will be good. But I actually see them dropping more than a lot of people do. Bleacher Report has them at 10-7. I actually have them dropping all the way down to 8-9, maybe even 7-10 this year. I think the division's going to be a little bit tougher for them, fighting with the lower teams like the Panthers and the Falcons, which we'll talk about in a second. but they still have some playmakers, so there is potential there. So we will see where they end up, but I don't even see them making wild card this year. Obviously, one of the most prolific players in the league on the Panthers with Christian McCaffrey. A little bit of upside there. I mean, I enjoyed Teddy Bridgewater, and I thought he did a good job with what he could last year. This year, Sam Darnold has potential. I think, though, we see a little bit more of the Sam Darnold we saw in the Jets offense. We don't see a lot of improvement. Matt Rule has an opportunity with Drew Brees gone to do more with this team. Guys, I'm just not sold on where they're going. Bleacher Report has them at 8-9 this season. The bettors have them at a 7.5 win. Guys, I'm thinking maybe even 6-11, 7-10 more likely. But I do not see them even really getting too close to the idea of a winning season, breaking 500. And I just think there's still a lot of pieces that need to be fixed down there. And we'll see if that happens this year. Final team of the NFC South, we have the Falcons. And while I have always enjoyed Matty Ice, I think we're seeing him come to the end of his career. The Falcons are missing a lot of pieces. There's a lot of things that they need to do to get better. Anybody who knows anything about football can see that, can know that. Ever since that Tom Brady and the Patriots comeback Super Bowl win, the Falcons have never been the same, even after getting rid of Dan Quinn. I don't see them improving over last year very much. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if soon enough we see them kind of tanking for a new pick. They're going to be fighting for one of the worst teams in the league, in my opinion. I have these guys at 5-12. Bleacher Report also has them at 5-12, and the bettors have them at a 7-win swing. So we'll see what truly happens there. But without Julio Jones too, man, I don't see much happening for them. Something about the South teams this year that just two of the weaker divisions, I think. But here we come to the AFC South with the Texans, and oh my goodness, what a mess. If Deshaun does not play and all of that plays out as expected right now, guys, I think we're looking at the Texans being one of, if not the worst team in the AFC, in the entire league, actually. And so, I mean, Tyrod Taylor has already been named the starter for week 1, so we're already partially in that direction. As we move that way, though, thinking about what the Texans can do, everybody that they've lost, the defense not being very good, the offense really only having Brandon Cooks, and Philip Lindsay I think could do some good things, but Tyrod Taylor's going to be up and down, not as high of a ceiling as someone like Jameis Winston, but definitely just as low of a floor, if not lower. So I have the Texans actually going 3-13, honestly probably the worst team in the league this year, getting that top pick next year. Bleacher Report has them going 4-13. The odds makers right now have them at a 5, over under of 5 wins. So I'm definitely under that. The Indianapolis Colts, they're a team that I had hope for last year. I wanted to see Phillip Rivers and that team push hard in the playoffs, and they did pretty decent, but obviously not where I would have liked to see them land. This year, I always love an underdog, a comeback story, and this year that really could take place a little bit with Carson Wentz. Not as much as a lot of people, I think, hope for, but I do think if he can keep from getting injured, he will have a decent season. I do see the reality of that being able to happen, and if that does, I think the Colts go 9-8. I think Frank Reich is an excellent football coach, and so I think there is potential to lead them. Now, they could be a wild card team. There's a lot of good teams this year, but they could be a wild card team at 9-8 even. Unfortunately, high potential is Carson has another injury, and if that happens, guys, I'm not seeing anything higher than like a 7-10 season. But we're gonna go with that 9-8 though, being hopefully optimistic that he stays healthy. The Jaguars are going to be an interesting squad to watch this year. I'm not sold on Coach Urban Meyer. I think when you look at his past, you see him get involved with something that's being built. He's there for just a few years and then he's gone again. And some of the stuff so far have kind of felt questionable about the direction that he's going, and I'm just not having a good feeling about this. Trevor Lawrence, I think, will be, I don't foresee him being a stud, but I see him being a good quarterback. Maybe similar, guys, to a Alex Smith kind of situation where he'll come into his own later in his career. That all, I think, is dependent on what coach he's under. You know, if they only have Urban Meyer for a few years and then give him opportunity, I don't know. This is all conjecture right now. But what I do see happening this year is I see them middling. Not even middling. What am I saying? I see them falling short. I think they definitely improve from last year, because last year was intended to be a flop year, right? Will we see a Joe Burrow's kind of moment last year, since that offensive line in Jacksonville is looking very questionable? I don't know. I think it's going to be. I think we're going to be in store for quite an interesting year with Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence will be helpful to them, but I don't see them going beyond 5 wins. I have them at 5-12 on the year. I know Bleacher Report has them at 4-13, even worse than I have them. I have a little bit more faith, I think, in them. And odds makers are at an over-under of 6 wins. So we're right next to that. I don't see them going higher than that, and I think they're going to shore up another couple of picks this year. So that'll be good for them moving forward and allow Trevor Lawrence a better opportunity to do some better things in the coming seasons. Now, the Tennessee Titans, again, NFC South, AFC South, weaker overall divisions, and I think one of the reasons the Titans get to a solid year this year is because they're going to win the majority of their division games. They're going to end up, I think, at like a 12-5 even, which seems high. Bleacher Report has them at 10-7. The over/under is 9.5. I think they have a couple upset games this year. I have really liked their coach. Coming out, of course, from playing under Bill Belichick. Guys, I think they go 12-5. I think they're one of the top couple of teams in the AFC, let alone the entire league. I think Bud Dupree has a solid season. I think Steelers fans, unfortunately, I think we feel it. I think Bud Dupree is gonna be a solid edge rusher from here on out through the next couple of years of his career. And obviously you have Derrick Henry, and you've got a lot of other pieces there. Tannehill with the play action game. I just think overall they're going to do really well. I, for some reason, cannot pull their coach's name into my head, but I've always enjoyed watching him. He makes it exciting to watch. Just his personality, as well as even when he played linebacker for the Patriots. But 12-5. It's kind of a big say right there, but we'll see what happens. All right, continuing the circle of the divisions, we come to the NFC East. Literally one of the most muddied division every single year. And honestly, every year we come to it, I feel like it's the Cowboys division to lose. And I do not like the Dallas Cowboys. But what keeps happening is all of the teams in the NFC East constantly grab at one another. And so this year, what I see happening, the Washington football team, is I have them with their defense. They've got some studs on defense. Guys, I have Ryan Fitzpatrick first ever time to make the playoffs. Can you believe it? With the Washington football team there, I think the coach, what's his name, who came up from Carolina, I think he's going to do good. I think he's been doing pretty good things. They've got an excellent defense, and they've got some playmakers on offense. Guys, I see them winning the NFC East, I apologize, with a 10-7 season. Philadelphia Eagles, some interesting things happening last year. Just honestly, I don't know what other word to use, just a mess. Injuries and issues. They're going to be back at it this year, seeing what Jalen Hurts can actually do. Guys, I'm not sold on this season. Bleacher Report has the Eagles going 6-11. I don't have them doing that bad. I have them going 7-10 or 8-9. More likely 8-9, but possibly 7-10. So we will see what happens there. The over/under for the Eagles is sitting at 7. Man, it's going to be a tough year for them, that's for sure. The Giants are an interesting look this year because Daniel Jones is in a make it or break it situation, honestly, and things could go one way or another, which honestly can happen with any team. It's kind of a dumb thing to say, it feels, but I am not sold on them. One, because I think it's always just a big giant mud puddle in the NFC East. And this year I don't think is going to be much different. I think it'll be great to have Saquon Barkley back, that's for sure, and they have an excellent group of pass catchers on offense. The defense looks pretty decent, but I'm not sold on them. I think they hit middle of the road, and the Giants end up 7-10. Bleacher Report has them at 8-9, and the over/under is at 7. I think they hit that right on and go 7-9 this year. We'll see what that has to say. If they do hit that mark, what does that say for Daniel Jones? Because they haven't gotten a winning season, I don't think, for a few many years now, ever since he's been in. And so it's his third year. Something's got to give. Really, it's a pressure year for him. So we'll see if he fulfills that pressure or not. I don't know why I just did that. Who knows? He likes to make decisions like that in real life too. We'll see. We'll see what the Giants do. I don't think this is as much anymore the Cowboys division to lose. I mean, I think they have a lot of great pieces that, in a way, it could be seen as that. I think the Washington football team is going to be tough this year, especially with that defense. But the Cowboys did a great job of adding to their defense this year. It's been one of their biggest weaknesses, especially in the pass defense. Dak Prescott, I have been a fan of. Rookie year, I took a gamble on him, especially in fantasy football, thinking this guy has potential to be a breakout. And guess what happened? He broke out. I felt really good about it that year. I think I went on to win my league as well. So I think we'll see a great year from him. I think Ezekiel Elliott won't be as good as we've seen before. I just think that offensive line hasn't been the same. They had a couple more retirements. In my opinion, I didn't see enough of replacements for their offensive line. So it's a weaker division. Everybody's middle of the line, but I see Dallas ending up at about 9-8. I do see them hitting just over that 900. That 500 location, but not good enough to win the division. Maybe good enough to make a wild card. Not sure. We'll see. Bleacher Report has them at 8-9, and the win over/under is 9.5 right now. Now the AFC East. This is where some things get interesting. I think the AFC East is one of the most improved divisions in the league this year. The Dolphins specifically, I feel like they've got some good things brewing down there in Miami. The defense is looking a lot better. The question mark really right now is going to be Tua. He showed some flash last year, but he also showed some concern. They did add some extra pieces on offense with some pass catchers, and they've got a young line and some other rookies across the team. And so I think this team is a year or two away from hitting their stride into the double digits. I don't think they get back to a 10-game win this year like they did last year. I think this year they end at 9-8. If Tua struggles a little bit, I actually have them going 8-9. So we'll see what things look like as we get further into the season. Other than the Kansas City Chiefs and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Buffalo Bills are the team that I've heard the most chatter about. And the thing about the Bills this year is I think they're going to be an excellent squad. I just am not sold on enough happening to secure, like, things stayed similar to who they were last year, but nothing to stack on that. The Chiefs stacked. Tampa Bay kept the same and also grew and added. And so the Bills, I feel like they stayed pretty much the same, which is good, but I don't think it's going to be enough this year. I think a lot of people are high on them. Josh Allen, I think, can have a solid year, no doubt about it. What I'm concerned about with Buffalo, and I've been saying this for a few weeks now, is Stephon Diggs is really where a lot of their offense lies. And I just have a feeling that mid-season to end of season, we're going to be dealing with some injury issues in Buffalo that are actually going to affect how they perform in the playoffs. I think they still make the playoffs. I think they still win the AFC East. But I think they even take the risk of getting knocked out of playoffs first or second round. We'll talk more about the playoffs later. But the Bills, I have going 12-5. I have them going almost 5-1, maybe 4-2 in the AFC East division. But the Bleacher Report has them 11-6, so I have them higher than that, and over the 10.5 win look with the bettors. So we'll see. I want the Bills to win their first Super Bowl. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it this year, guys. All right. Well, I'm not a Patriots fan. I emphasize that. As a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, I feel I must emphasize this. But listen, Bill Belichick is an excellent coach, and I think this year is going to be an excellent year for the New England Patriots. Last year it was their first losing record since like 2000. And I don't think people take under advisement or take into consideration all of the many pieces that went into effect with that, from people sitting out due to the COVID list on defense, people who were injured. I mean, other than the 49ers, the Patriots were one of the top plagued teams in the NFL with injuries. And so there was a lot that needed to happen. Bill now has his guy in Mac. You know, we'll see what all he can do. I think there'll be some learning to happen there. But overall, the defense is going to be one of the best defenses in the league, I think. And I think these guys are going to come out strong. And I don't think the Patriots are going to win the AFC East, but consider them a wild card favorite of mine. I think they'll be a wild card team in the AFC. I have them at 11-6. Bleacher Report also has them at 11-6, and I have them finishing close behind the Bills to just barely lose out on the AFC East. So we'll see where things go from there. The final team in the AFC East, the New York Jets, gangrene. I think that these guys, I think the offense on the Jets is going to be undervalued this year. I still don't think the team as a whole is going to do that great. But I don't think people are going to give this offense enough credit. I think we're going to see some flashes this year that are going to get some New York Jets fans excited about what's to come. This year, they go 5-12 is what I have them as. Bleacher Report has them at 4-13. The over-under for them is at 6. I still have them underneath of that. But CJ Mosley is healthy, and I think new coaching staff will be good for them, especially with the defensive mind of is it Salah? I can't remember his name, but it came over from 49ers. I'm excited to see what's going to happen with New York, and it's going to continue to make the AFC East a competitive division like it never was when Tom Brady was there with the Patriots. Don't even get me started in that conversation. But anyway, New York Jets 5-12, finishing out as one of the bottom teams in the entire NFL. So they'll look to build on that with the draft and then come back strong, I think, with a little bit of experience with their young guys into 2022. So that'll be good for them then. Into the final division of the NFC, we come to the NFC North. Full circle. The Bears. This team, I think, is going to struggle a little this year. I mean, I think it's the Packers division to lose, and there's been some drama up there, obviously. So we have yet to see, but guys, I don't think they roll with Andy Dalton for long. I think there's a reason he's been around the league since he was a starter for those years in Cincinnati, and so I think the change up between quarterbacks is actually going to hinder them in the long run rather than just starting with Justin Fields off the get-go. I mean, I understand the decision to start with the experience first. I just think overall it's going to negatively affect them. Defensively, they still have some studs out there, and they're going to be a top defense again. They're only going to be winning about 7 games this year. 7-10 is what I have them listed at. Bleacher Report has them at 8-9, and the over/under is at 7.5. So we're both choosing one side or the other. But unfortunately, not a great year for the Bears. They'll look to collect and no doubt improve under Justin Fields into the year in 2022. North of Chicago, obviously, we hit up Detroit. I feel bad for Jared Goff, guys. I think the guy still, he's got some gas in the tank, and I'm excited to see what he can do. The unfortunate thing, he has ended up in the pit of despair called Detroit. And with that, they should get some points on the board. I like TJ Hawkinson personally as well, but I mean, defensively, they haven't done well very much defensively for years, it feels like. Kind of like what the Chargers were with Phillip Rivers, the defense in Detroit, while I say that and then I get a pick, baby. But the Detroit defense, while Matt Stafford was there, also just didn't seem to be that great. And so, new coach, new season, new opportunity. I think they come out with a 5-12 season, a little bit better than the prediction that Bleacher Report has at 4-13. But I do think there's a future there, and I hope that Goff will be able to experience that a little bit. The Green Bay Packers, man, what an off season of drama and such. And from my understanding, a lot of the drama around Aaron Rodgers was media induced. It wasn't even from him, but we'll see what he does this season. Oh man, I bit hard on that. And between him and Devontae Adams, there can be some great things. I think they take a step back from last year, but I still do see the NFC North as the Packers division to lose. I think the run game's going to be a little bit improved. Defensively, they'll still probably sit similar, but I'm excited to see what happens for them. You know, and it's another older quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, trying to look at an opportunity to be able to win a Super Bowl before he retires. Now, I think he still thinks he's going to be playing a couple more years, kind of Tom Brady style, but we shall see. I have the Packers going 10-7 this year. Bleacher Report has them going 11-6, so I have them a little bit under that. I want to see what happens with if there is actual drama, if there is stuff with Matt LaFleur. Some of the calls last season were very questionable. You know, injuries are a concern with the Packers. Who was it? Zadarius Smith, I think, with a back injury or something like that. There's Bakhtiari, the left tackle, coming back from ACL. So there's definitely some question marks to what we're going to be seeing here from the Packers. And so 10-7 is what I got. 11-6 Bleacher Report. We'll see, but I have them winning the NFC North. The Minnesota Vikings are a team I think we're going to see some excellent defensive play this year. They consistently roller coaster between a good year, a bad year, a good year, a bad year when it comes with their defense. Obviously, offensively, Dalvin Cook, Kirk Cousins, such a consistent passer, even though he gets such negative press. I think these guys are going to be good, but they're not going to be good enough. I think the Vikings end up 9-8 this year. It's going to be difficult in that NFC North. Another concern for these guys, just like I said with the Packers, are going to be injuries. Not sure what things are going to look like for them. Also, don't know about that offensive line there in Minnesota. So quite a few things yet to be seen. I have these guys 9-8. Bleacher Report has them as 8-9. I at least have them over 500. But we'll see what the playoff picture looks like for these guys. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to make it. We'll see. And now we come to the AFC North, my division. Ladies and gentlemen, starting off with the Ravens. Now, I think a lot of people are high on the Ravens, and for good reason. They look like they're going to be a solid team yet again, led by Lamar Jackson, a great coach, good run game. I think they're going to be weak at defensive pressure and therefore some run stopping as well, which will be interesting to see how that plays out. But overall, I think they're going to have an excellent year again. I have them at 11-6. Bleacher Report has them at 12-5. The over/under is at 11 wins. I think the AFC North as a whole is going to be really difficult this year, and I think people are sleeping on the Steelers, which awesome, do that please. Underdog status, gotta love it. But I think 11-6, and I do think the Ravens end up winning the division in the AFC North. Now, the Cincinnati Bengals, they're gonna be a new and improved team. I think it's a show it year for their coach Zach. He needs to prove that he's the coach to stay there in Cincinnati. I think he'll do better, and they will improve this year, but I don't think that they will get to 500. And I think they will end at the bottom of the AFC North, but the AFC North is one of the toughest divisions this year. And so I think that the Bengals end at 6-11. Bleacher Report has them at 7-10. So I have the under on that, over/under. But Joe Burrow, I think, is going to come back and have a solid year. T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd, a couple great pass catchers. I think overall they're going to have a lot better year, but it's not going. They're not yet there. One more year, and the AFC North could really be something crazy. Although realistically, Pittsburgh could take their place. We will see. With the Cleveland Browns, some people might, think, oh, you're just biased because you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. But I want to be honest about how I think this year's going to go for each and every one of these teams. And the Cleveland Browns have one of the best teams on paper. We've seen when they've had a great team before, them let that dwindle. Last year they did have a great final season win against Pittsburgh, and then they had a great playoff win against Pittsburgh as well. They almost lost both of those, so that'll be something for them to hold on in late game situations. They have a lot of guys who are injured coming back this year, including OBJ and Greedy Williams. They're going to have an excellent defense, and so I think they have great potential this year. But one of the things for me is there has to be proof of who you are, and we have yet to see who the Browns really are. I think that they do compete hard this year in the AFC North. Again, one of the most difficult divisions in the league. The Ravens are going to be hard. I think the Steelers are going to be harder than people give them credit for, and I think the Bengals are going to surprise people a couple games here or there. So Bleacher Report has the Browns at 12-5. I think there is potential that could happen, but I think we're jumping the gun a little early. I have the Browns at 9-8, still a respectable season in the AFC North, but I do not have them going into double digits quite yet. I think we need to slow the roll a little bit yet about what Cleveland can do and will do with who they have, not just with what their paper says. So 9-8, we shall see. And now we come to the Pittsburgh Steelers, the final team in the AFC North and in the NFL. And I just want to say I love that so many people are undervaluing the Steelers. The underdog status. It's a great way to live under the radar. What I want to see from Mike Tomlin, though, is I want to see some wins against losing teams. That sounds dumb, but I tell you, his record against losing teams has been terrible. He plays well, and he leads the team well against winning squads, but against losing teams, not that great of a track record. The Steelers haven't had a losing season since he has become coach. They haven't had a losing season since 2003, before he was a coach. One of the things I'm curious to see this year is what Najee Harris will bring to the table. Add to the run game. I think the revamping the offensive line will actually be beneficial. It's not that big of an improvement, but it's an improvement. You really couldn't get any worse than last year's offensive line with Pittsburgh. Again, AFC North, difficult, one of the most difficult divisions in the league. I think it's one of the better defenses. I think with TJ Watt, if he gets that contract signed, I think this is going to be one of the top defenses in the league. And I think the Steelers go 10-7 and make the wild card. Bleacher Report, as with many people, have them undervalued, and they see them as a losing season is due. They have them at 8-9. Good for them. Now I will say this, if TJ Watt holds out and is not signed, I do see the Steelers going sub 500. I do see it. He is that kind of player. He creates that kind of difference, and I really think he could be a difference between a winning and a losing season for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think a little too much about this kind of thing without being compensated, without being paid for it. I'm not an expert, but hey, who knows? Maybe if I get enough of these predictions right, maybe I could be an expert next year. I don't know. So that's a look at what I have for the picks for this year's regular season, debuting the day of the regular season, the first regular season game. And so things are going to change, no doubt about it. And I look to make an all too early playoff prediction as well. So keep an eye for that. Make sure you like this video and you subscribe so that way you get those notifications to see when that video does go live. And I look forward to having conversations. Again, check out the stream, twitch.tv/Delkery. Would love to have you on there Monday and Fridays, 10 a.m. Eastern time, to be able to chat a little bit about what your thoughts are. And let me know down in the comments, what did you think? What are your thoughts about the outcome of this regular season? Who do you think is going to make division champions? Who do you think is going to make the playoffs? Where do you think Pittsburgh Steelers are going to end up? I want to hear all about all of them. So let me know in the comments. Let me know live on stream. And until the next video, I want to remind you guys that you are a unique, unrepeatable, beautiful, and intelligent miracle of God. That's your identity. You're made in His image. You're made with a purpose and a plan. You are loved and you have great value. Until next time, peace.